Welcome back to this channel. If you don't already know, I like to talk about depression and I like to talk about health and wellness. So today I wanted to specifically speak about depression and how it relates to the body. What is a challenge that you faced with having a physical vessel? And what's a perspective that has helped you with those challenges?
Body images based on our society and conditioning. It's about perspective, honestly, and how you feel about yourself. It's about loving yourself just as you are, because it's not a one size fits all. When you believe that you're not beautiful, that you're not enough, you're not worthy, and you don't like the way you look, it reflects like from the inside out. And so your mental beliefs, they influence your body. And so if you speak good things to your body, it's going to reflect outwards. If you love yourself as you are, it's going to reflect outwards. And I think it's more important that you make good decisions and you take care of your body, and you're not working out for a certain goal or trying to lose weight. You're working out to take care of the vessel, and you're beautiful with curves. You sustain life. You're a beautiful vessel. You, a woman, is a conduit from the spiritual to the physical that births life, whether it's a creative endeavor, a project, or a physical human child. You are a portal. You're a conduit. And that's beautiful. And to be a conduit, to be a vessel, you have to have curves to sustain life. It's good to go outside and to go for a walk and to eat good food, because it's nourishing. It's nourishing your body, and saying good things about yourself is nourishing your body. So that is kind of how I have worked through this challenge that I've been experiencing lately. These negative standards, these toxic standards on beauty, female beauty, and the physical form, because everyone is beautiful as they are.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This song goes out to the Middle English tribe over there. A heart like a lion, it's burning like fire, waiting just to be set free. Some that tell me I'm a fool, a fool who walks this road alone, so afraid of making changes.
Usually, when you're experiencing depression, you might be experiencing low motivation, just tiredness, fatigue, maybe some kind of pain you're experiencing. It fluctuates, but just generally speaking, it's not the most energizing feeling. One thing that I recommend is just trying to be as easy as possible on yourself when you're experiencing depression. Try your best not to put yourself down, because we already feel so down when we experience depression, and I feel like one of the main contributors is that there isn't really much desire to move about, to socialize, and because we're human and because we have to do the things that we must in order to take care of the essentials for survival, connect with other beings, it can be really challenging to not feel like you're doing something wrong, and it just feeds into that negativity. It's hard enough, and if we have this internal dialogue or a narrative going on in our minds that is really putting you down for experiencing lack of motivation, maybe you're even in a state that you're completely sedentary, you're just laying in bed all day, it can be very destructive and just way harder to get up and do those bare essentials because you're constantly pushing yourself down. It's important to just be graceful with yourself, be easy on yourself. Because it's easier said than done, it helps to have a couple tools. Becoming aware of how detrimental it can be to put yourself down for giving yourself the space to just be alone, to just relax, to not do anything. When you are in that state, use affirmations and reminders that it's okay for you to be in that state. And affirm to yourself why it's helping you. You're laying in bed, a thought is coming up, and it's something like, you're never going to accomplish anything in your life because you're always so depressed that you just lay in bed all day and you're just being useless. You're just a useless person. That might be the thought that comes up. And if that comes up, you can start to notice when you're putting yourself down. Instead of allowing that thought to take control over you, just look at it and notice it. Look at it with a sense of curiosity. Like, oh, that thought is coming up. That's not helping me. Okay. Start to shift the narrative, rewrite the narrative. Notice, and then instead say something like, I feel particularly low today, and so it's okay that I'm giving myself the space to rest today. Maybe you can say something like, this whole week I've been feeling pretty down, but even though I've been isolating myself, I feel more comforted when I take the space that I need to take for myself. If you're in this space where you are isolating yourself, you're not really doing much activity, and you feel pretty bad about it, sometimes that comes from a place of just looking outside of yourself and determining what is acceptable as a human being and letting that be the standard for yourself, when that standard is just unrealistic for the place that you're in. So if you're in a place where you're just extremely depressed and the standard is you have to be a functioning human in society, you have to connect with people, you have to get up and exercise, you have to do stretching, you have to eat healthy, you have to cook food, you have to do all of these things that are just the standard. One thing that helped me was just eliminating the standard, creating a standard for myself, where even though the little things that you're doing are mundane, you're appreciating those tasks more. So every time that you get up to get a drink of water, that is a cause for celebration. That is the new standard. Every time that you go and eat a good meal or a meal in general, affirm to yourself. That's one of the main reasons why depression might come up in people, is we're just not appreciating the little things as much. Appreciating yourself for doing things that we usually don't celebrate in life. We usually don't celebrate others for doing those things in life. Start to celebrate yourself. Start to appreciate yourself for doing those things. This is rose tea, and that was a little rose petal. So speaking of celebrating the little things, when you are carrying out a task, as mundane as it may seem, because you don't really have the energy to do much else than the bare essentials, the bare minimum, take the time to not only appreciate the fact that you did something good for yourself, but to actually appreciate the experience. So, you have a cup of tea and you were able to just observe it. You see the color, you put it to your lips, drop into your body and drop into the experience, the subtlety of each movement, the feeling of the tea touching your lips, maybe the steam that's coming from the cup, and the feeling of the warm cup in your hand. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to put the cup to my forehead, and it just feels really nice. And even now, as I have this cup to my forehead, the movement of the water and the light hitting my face, I can see this like flickering, right? And that's very soothing. It feels good. It's very sensual. It's very experiential, and it can kind of get you out of your head and back into your body. If we're experiencing depression, oftentimes we're like really up in our heads. We're constantly having this internal dialogue. We're creating these narratives that are just very self-destructive. It creates a lot of stress. Yeah, dropping into the body throughout your day and remembering to drop into your body, because if we're constantly living in our minds, we probably have created a habit. We have probably created a neural pathway that isn't necessarily in alignment with being present in our bodies. To take the time when you're sitting to just feel your body, your spine, your neck, and your breath. So using movement, just little movements that will loosen you up. When you're living in your mind, a lot of tension builds up in your muscles, a lot of tension builds up in your joints. And when you are sedentary, because maybe you're just really depressed, you don't have a lot of energy, you don't want to move, you don't even care to like exist or to move about. Instead of feeling bad that you're not working out 3 times a week and lifting weights for 30 minutes, and you're not cooking meals for yourself, or you're not going out to hang out with Joe and Schmo. Instead, just do little things. Like, this goes a long way, This goes a long way. Actually, there's a breath technique that helps a lot, that's related to the heart. So there's different sounds that you can make with your breath, and oftentimes a lot of pain is in our heart when we experience depression, a lot of like pent up energy in our heart space. So something that you could do is just breathe deeply into your heart. So the sound is now that releases a lot of energy out from the heart space. Sometimes throughout the day, I'll make that sound like 5 times, and I'll do things like this. Or now this is regulating the breath, and it's allowing the breath to come out at different pressures in different ways. And so I find that very helpful, and just a very simple thing, a very simple tool that you can use. So we're celebrating, we're creating a new standard, we're celebrating the little things, we're dropping into our bodies, we're feeling the sensations more than we're thinking in our heads about things. And even if we are thinking in our heads, this will help us kind of come out of our heads and back into our body, out of our minds and back into the subtleties of existing, of living life, that most people on the planet are just rushing through. There's so much stimuli around us that it's easy to forget. Although something as simple as opening a jar seems to be not that great, the actual motion of it, the fact that we can see it with our eyes, the fact that we can feel it with our fingers, our hands, the fact that we can hear the sound is actually grounding and deserves to be noticed, deserves to be appreciated a little bit more. So that's something that I find very helpful. Everyone is so different. So some people are night owls. Some people don't wake up till like 7 o'clock in the evening. Some people are early risers. Some people don't sleep at all. I want to acknowledge that everybody is different when I talk about these things. And I will give you as many examples as I can as to be all-inclusive. Whenever you wake up, your brain is in a certain state that it will solidify these neural pathways to the first thing that you're doing when you initially wake up. So the first thing that you do when you wake up is actually a very important thing. Doesn't matter what time you wake up. But the activities that you might engage in may vary depending on the time that you wake up, and your responsibilities may vary. The time that you're waking up is a time to be aware of the fact that this is going to set the tone for your experience thereafter, your arising. It would serve to do something that is easy on your mind, that isn't too engaging with the mind, and it would serve to just try your best to ease your mind. Let's say you're somebody who has a lot of dreams, and then the initial shock of waking up and coming out of a dream. Dreams can be very triggering. Dreams can be really intense. So it might not be the easiest thing to be completely clear in your mind when you just had this extravagant dream or this terrible nightmare. So when you're waking up, start to remind yourself and just become aware of this first thing in the morning. That now might not be the best time to be hyper engaged with what just happened in your dreams or hyper engaged with any thought pattern. So for me, when I wake up, I will usually have like a lot of thoughts come through, and I'll immediately become aware, and then once I become aware, I redirect myself to a different state where I just observe. So I'll usually wake up in the morning, maybe it's like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. The dawn is coming in, it's kind of blue out, and all you see is like silhouettes of things. So I will look at the silhouettes and I will breathe in and out. I like to affirm to myself that I am being. And then I will drop right into my body. I will just breathe and feel the waves. It's like I can sense these waves in my body when I first wake up. And when I start to drop into my body and let go of the dreams, let go of the thoughts, all the worries, I actually start to realize that there's like this waving feeling within my body. There's a sense of relaxation in my body. And so I kind of just bask in that sense of relaxation. So I'll sit in that for a while. I might look out of the window. If you have a window, it's really helpful to just like look right out your window. I stay away from my phone because my phone just has a very strong energy to it. It's bright. There's an entire world in there that you can start to explore, and it's very engaging. So if I do decide to go into my phone, I'll usually put on like some kind of a frequency sounds, binaural beats, maybe like a meditative flute, and maybe like a drum, something very calming. and that could be very helpful. Or you could even play an instrument. That's a beautiful way to calm yourself in the morning. You can just wake up and pick up an instrument and just feel the vibrations. Another thing that I find very important in the morning is drinking water. So I will wake up after I just vibe with myself, I observe, I breathe, I feel the waves within my body. And don't get me wrong, like, thoughts come in throughout the experience, and it gets easier over time. With practice, you will be able to start to calm those thoughts, and as they come in, you just continue to redirect yourself. So it's basically just like meditating first thing in the morning. Meditation doesn't always just look like you're closing your eyes and you know, you're not always in this state when you're meditating. Life can be a meditation. So when you're being present, that is a meditation. It's smoothness, it's tranquility. As I redirect my thoughts, as I drop into my body, once I feel ready to get up, sometimes I'll stretch a little bit. I'll just move my head to one side, breathe in and out, and to the other side. And I'll bring it back. See, so just all these movements to kind of wake up the body and breathe into the body. One challenge that I've faced is waking up with a racing heart. So that's one of the hardest things I feel, because if your heart is pounding, your mind goes crazy. When your heart is pounding so hard and you're just like really going through it in the morning, and some people just wake up immediately with that anxiety. You just don't even know what to do with that. So all of these things can help with that. To just observe the fact that your heart is pounding and try not to think too deeply into it, and to regulate your heartbeat by dropping into your body again. I like to drink warm water in the morning. Warm water might not be your thing. Maybe you really like cold water, but for me, I feel like warm water just like relaxes me. I feel calm in my nervous system when I'm drinking warm water, and I find it very comforting, like a warm hug. That sounds like something that might be nice for you. Go ahead and try that. When your body is still for so long, the lubrication in your joints is not very active. So the reason why it's important to stretch and to move the body when you wake up is that when you make an action like this, there's a fluid, it's called synovial fluid, that is inside that will be released in your joints, and that actually lubricates all the joints. So if you're not doing these actions and you're going into your day without stretching, without moving your body, then your joints actually start to rub against each other dry, and you'll experience more tension, you'll experience pain, especially over time. So I recommend, like, even if it's just a little bit. Remember, we don't have to live at this really high standard, and we really can't. When we're experiencing depression, we have to really give ourselves some grace, give ourselves some space to just flow into things easily, and to not try to meet some kind of invisible expectation that just is non-existent, right? Do little things, small movements, and as you start to open yourself up, then you can start to expand your horizons. Incrementally bringing yourself up. No day is going to be the same. Life happens. It's much easier when we're not so hard on ourselves. Let's talk about when we feel like we don't have time or space to get into that state where we are slowing down the mind first thing in the morning. Perfect example. You go to public school, school starts at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., you have to wake up, you have to go to sleep, you were up late doing homework, you're bombarded with all this stuff, and you don't have time to do all that, to give yourself that space when you wake up. The reason I bring that up is because sometimes we need to make the time and we need to create the space. If we don't make the time and create the space, we're going to perpetuate this feeling. And this is going to contribute to our depression. It's going to contribute to the accumulation of stress in the body, in the mind. Planning ahead, making sure that you are creating some kind of a structure for yourself that will be in alignment with your lifestyle. That might be a lot for you if you're really depressed right now, but it's also really important and it's doable, you know? And like I said, you just gotta take it slow. You gotta take small incremental steps towards that. Even if you're not depressed, that is a major challenge, and it's going to be something that you'll be faced with throughout your life. If you can find a balance between your work, between your rest, between your play, and your duties as a human, you will start to feel a lot better, and it will make a huge difference. What does that look like for you? Maybe it looks like packing something for yourself before you go to bed. Prioritizing a time that you go to bed. Prioritizing carving out a time for yourself before you go to bed to get yourself into a state of just relaxation. I love, before going to bed, taking this jar and opening it. It has like beeswax. Just opening it. Sounds, ASMR vibes. And it has beeswax, and it has, I think, valerian or some kind of herb in it that induces dreams. Personally, I love dreams. I love to write them down and stuff, and I'm very fascinated by them. So this is a dream-inducing balm, and it's specifically for your feet. The skin is very absorbent, so when you take something and you put it on your skin, it absorbs the herbs in it. It absorbs whatever is inside of the product that you're using. So I will take it and put it on my feet and my hands, and I'll massage my hands. So the thing about your hands and your feet is that there is pressure points that are associated to different parts of the body. Your organs. There's meridian lines. So those are energetic pathways in which energy flows through. So if you've ever heard of like acupuncture or acupressure therapy, that's where people are working directly with your meridians, your energetic pathways in your body. So when you massage, it's very relaxing, and it could help you have a better sleep, and it could help relax your entire body without even engaging your entire body. You're just using the power of your hands, and everybody has healing hands. Our hands are healing, and they're working hands. We should love our hands. We should love our feet. You know, not everybody has hands, and not everybody has feet. And so we have to appreciate just every little thing that we have in our lives, even if it doesn't seem that amazing or that great. Appreciating what we do have is super important. And you'll find that people who don't have what you have find ways to appreciate themselves in different areas, find ways to appreciate their lives in different ways, and are very fruitful in that endeavor. They live very full lives, even though they don't necessarily have what everybody else has. So gratitude really is the attitude. Gratitude for just the subtle things in life will start to amplify your feelings of joy and start to decrease your feelings of depression. But yeah, I'm just talking about like carving out space to get yourself ready for the next step of your experience. So in this case, we're talking about getting ready for bed. So maybe 2 hours before bed, you wind down. You stop drinking or eating food. That will allow your digestive system to rest. Maybe you'll eat something a little bit lighter, something a little bit more subtle, like a fruit if you feel like you need a snack. You know, like choose something that will allow your digestive system to easily process and flow through without having to work. And that will allow you to relax in your gut, because your gut is like your second brain. Just relaxing your digestive system by way of maybe drinking some tea. So chamomile tea is really good to relax the nervous system. Lavender, mugwort is a dream inducing tea. So I like to drink mugwort. Find something that will relax you before you go to bed. You might not want to listen to very loud and thought-provoking music. That might not really help you and your potential insomnia if you're experiencing that. Maybe you want to journal, and you can journal and reflect on the day that you just had. What were things that you're grateful for? What were things that were challenging throughout your day? Maybe you can journal about how you're releasing and letting go of the day and just accepting the day for what it was. You can also journal in the morning time after you give yourself some space to just breathe and get your body adjusted to this new state of being, which is the waking state. So this is a journal entry that I wrote, and I'm going to share it with you guys. Accept what comes to you each day. Every day you enjoy a single slice of life. The slice of life is the best piece of pie you have ever had and will ever have. And good thing that you don't eat this entire pie in one day, for it is an eternal pie. You would get sick if you ate too much pie. Even 2 slices of the eternal pie is enough to have you feeling unwell. Enjoy your single pie of life. Bask in the glory of how you feel as you close your eyes and experience the essence of each ingredient, of each breath and heartbeat that went into creating such a sliver of pie. Blessings are surrounding. It's all for you. Enjoy that pie. When I am just waking up and that energy is flowing and I give myself that space, I see a difference between when I'm writing from that space and that energy. I think it's called like automatic writing. That's just basically like writing without thinking too much, and you're just allowing your thoughts to flow out onto the page. So I noticed a big difference in the way that my words come out when I'm writing first thing in the morning after giving myself the time to just drop in, to my body. That's a tool that you can use, whether it's in the morning. I like it in the morning. Like I said, it's different in the morning. And you can also use it at night to kind of just let go of some things that you might need to let go of before going to bed. Wearing something comfortable, maybe just not wearing clothes is best for you, but just being mindful of the way that you're taking care before you go to bed. Like, what you're wearing is loose, it's comfortable, it's breathable, and makes you feel good. Laying in bed, and you might be having some intrusive thoughts. Do your best to redirect your thoughts into ones that of gratitude, that of appreciation for whatever it is that you feel in your heart. but the way that you go to bed is going to reflect the way that you wake up. If you're going to bed just like crying your eyes out, you're probably going to wake up feeling the same way. So always do your best to go into your sleeping state with calm and peaceful vibrations, as to increase the likelihood that you wake up in the same energy. One thing that I like to do is give thanks for very specific things. So I'll just start to lay in my bed, eyes closed, and I'll say, thank you for my bed. Thank you for my bed sheets. Thank you for my pillows. Thank you for my toes. That, like, when I start to thank my own body, that's what makes me feel really happy and like almost really childlike. Like I started to say like, thank you for my toes, thank you for my fingertips, thank you for my chest and my heart, thank you for my hairs, like every little hair on your head, like you're just thanking every single part of yourself, every single part of your physical being. Thank you for my soul, thank you for my heart. I said heart. Thank you for just every little thing, you know? Thank you for my nipples, like just thank your entire body, you know? And just really start to feel the shift in your vibration, the impact that giving thanks really has on your being. You can use affirmations in the morning too. You can say things like, I am pure awareness. You can say, thank you for a new day. Maybe your day is your night and your night is your day. But regardless, whatever you're doing, you're just carving out a space for before you're going into a new segment of your life. So let's say one segment is sleep. Before, you're carving out a space where you're preparing for your sleep, and you're doing things that are going to allow you to easily go into the sleep state and peacefully receive the blessings of that sleeping state. Or you're carving out a space before you go into the activities of the day, and you're carving out a space before you go into the next activity of your day, where you are transitioning. You're going through these transitions more easily. Transitions are not easy all the time, you know? It's like you're in your cozy, warm bed and you're living in the north and it's snowing outside and it's 7 a.m. and you don't want to get up. You stayed up late and you have to shovel your car out, or you have to go outside and start your mom's car or your dad's car, and it's just, you just don't want to do it. You just want to be. You just want to be right where you're at, and you don't want to have to be somewhere and rush there, here or there. Like, understandable. Totally understandable. I would be depressed too. Just recognize how helpful it is to create that space for yourself. Maybe you're somebody who just really likes to have snacks. Make sure your snacks are prepared the night before for the day up. And get your outfits ready the night before. Having everything in place so that you don't have to rush around in the morning. So you have your water bottle filled already, your keys in a particular place, an extra jacket ready for you, all your books are packed, all the things that you're gonna need for your day are in one place, and you can just grab it and go. You know, if you prepare lunch, you just grab it and go. So everything is in place so that when you wake up, you don't have to worry about it, you don't have to think about it, and you can have that time to yourself to just breathe instead of just waking up and worrying and, oh my god, I'm going to be so late. Let's say everything is in place, right? And you did everything, but you still woke up late. So now you don't have that time to and acclimate to the transition of sleep to waking state. What you can do in this moment, and this is a very, very helpful tool, is to just recognize that freaking out and narrating this negative experience, or what might seem as a negative experience, it's not going to help you in any way. It's not going to make you go any faster. It's actually going to delay you. So if you can stay calm and start practicing tranquility in what might seem like an adverse situation, or what seem like something very bad, you'll start to teach your brain to just relax. So instead of freaking out, you're going to remain calm in an otherwise stressful situation, and that's going to translate into other areas of your life. So it's a really powerful practice to just remain calm even when you feel like you really messed up. Nobody is perfect. So if you miss out on an opportunity, maybe you'll get in trouble, maybe you'll get reprimanded, maybe somebody will be angry at you, but it's not worth the stress. It's not worth your well-being, and it's not worth becoming so aggravated. Staying calm will allow you to process what you're experiencing. So let's say you wake up and you're really late for a meeting of whatever sort. You still have everything in place, you're ready to go. Move quickly without freaking out the entire time. And if you calm yourself, you'll actually be able to move more swiftly, more effectively. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So you do what you must and do it as quickly as possible, but just leave out all the mind chatter of just being so mad at yourself. Now you're in your car, you're on your way, and you're late. Do your best to talk yourself through it. Be present and realize that it's not life or death.